Think Again by Adam Grant. Intelligence has been seen as the ability to learn and think, but in a world of rapid change, we have realized that the skill that we really need to master is the skill to rethink and unlearn. Quote, "In our daily lives, too many of us favor the comfort of conviction over the discomfort of doubt. We listen to opinions that makes us feel good instead of ideas that make us think hard." Hi and welcome to the BookLab. I'm Björn, and this is the place where we bring you the best book recommendations when it comes to philosophy, psychology, human nature and human potential every week. So make sure to subscribe, and the next time I publish a video it will show up in your feed. This week we're taking a closer look at Think Again by Adam Grant, The Power of Knowing What You Don't Know. Adam is a professor at the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, specializing in organizational psychology. He is the author to a ton of popular science books such as Originals, Hidden Potential, Give and Take, Power Moves, and a bunch of other books. And this is actually the first time I read one of his. The book explores the benefits of rethinking the way we do things, challenge our preconceptions, and the value of constructive feedback. It touches on the subject both in our private lives, both in relationships and at work, in companies and organizations, and also on a more societal scale. In this video I'm going to share a few bits that I found interesting from the book, and also talk about who should read this book and maybe who should skip it, and also some alternative books, of course, as I do. And one of the more interesting bits in this book is about motivational interviewing. If you ever try to persuade someone who's very stubborn or stuck in a certain way of thinking, you have probably noticed that it's really hard to make them change their minds just by sound arguments. And Adam Grant provides a technique for this in this book called Motivational Interviewing. And the premise behind this technique is to ask open-ended questions about why they think that way, how they built that opinion, because the answer to those questions might motivate them to open up to new ideas. Let's say you're a student at Hogwarts and you're worried your uncle is a fan of Voldemort. A motivational interview might go like this. You: "I'd love to better understand your feelings about he who must not be named." Uncle: "Well, he is the most powerful wizard alive. Also, his followers promised me a fancy title." Interesting. Is there anything you dislike about him? Well, I'm not crazy about all the murdering. With you? Well, no one is perfect. Yeah, but the killing is really bad. It sounds like you have some reservations about Voldemort. What's stopping you from abandoning him? I'm afraid he might direct the murdering towards me. That's a reasonable fear. I felt that too. I'm curious. Are there any principles that matter so deeply to you that you're willing to take that risk? Another section of the book that stood out to me was about how we can teach others to be more open to rethinking, relearning, iterating, getting criticism towards their ideas. And this is something that I, as a parent, want to teach my kids, for instance. And you might be a parent too, or you have other stubborn people in your surrounding. For instance, if I encourage my kids to do several drafts of a drawing, it's likely that maybe the third or fourth version will be the one that they go with, and they can iterate and rethink their ideas. And it's also about teaching others and learning yourself to be very specific in your critique the work, not the person. And if you are a leader in a leading position, you want to create an environment where people feel safe enough to put their work up for criticism. And the best way to do that is to show your own work and share what your learning goals are. That creates an environment where people feel safe to share their work. So these are some ideas from this book. And this reminds me of an exercise we did. I work as a game developer, and we work with art, 3D art. And we worked on a project recently where one of the risks this was a big project, was that the art department might not be able to deliver the quality that the publisher was aiming for. And what we did there reminded me of the concepts from this book, because we had these hour-long critique sessions every week where everyone showed their work, and everyone on the team were able to criticize it. What happened was that as we got into it, we became more open with showing our work, but we also became extremely more skilled. And The art that was the biggest risk for the project became the lowest risk for the project because we just accelerated our skills a lot and we actually had a lot of fun. So I tested this in reality and it seems to work, so that might be something you want to bring to your work. When I read this book, I started to think about how I rethink things. When do I change my opinion? And when did you change your opinion the last time? When did you change your mind on something? Please share that in the comment. I would love to read about that. And I think for us that read a lot of books, we have our opinions and preconceptions challenged all the time. If you follow the channel, you know I recently read this book, Determined, A Science of Life Without Free Will by Robert M. Sapolsky. And this book really literally had me reevaluating most of my approach to life, right? So I think for many of us, the idea of rethinking is not that revolutionary. Maybe it's even obvious. Last time I changed my mind was quite recently, actually. I felt like I needed to take a stance on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular. There were a few signals that just added up into something that made me feel like, holy shit, this might be something big. I don't understand it, but this might actually be something. And the last signal there was the introduction of the Bitcoin ETF that was launched a couple of months ago. So I felt like, okay, I need to spend some time researching this. Is this a Ponzi scheme or is it the next big thing? Is it as huge as the invention of the internet? So I spent a lot of time researching the past 16 years of Bitcoin, what have happened, the people that are against it, the people that are for it, the ones that are very evangelical about it, both sides. And I probably changed my mind 7 times during this period, from like, oh, this is a Ponzi scheme, to like, oh, this might actually be revolutionary technology. If you wonder where I ended up positive. I can't go into all of the reasons here. And before you heckle me in the comments, you know, I might actually change my mind again. Because that's what we do, or that we should do. We shouldn't form our personalities based on opinions or allow ourselves to rely on the opinions that we have. We should rather base them on values like truth, honesty, gratitude, security. Having your sense of self built on values rather than opinions will allow you to change your mind without straying from your values. We're going to go into the book verdict, but before that I would just like to say that like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and give a super thanks. Support me on PayPal or Patreon if you want to help really support the channel. I had some trouble figuring out who this book is for, and that's probably because I'm so used to hanging out with bookish people in the book community, and for most of those people it's like rethinking. Of course, I change my mind all the time. It's obvious that I should be open to new ideas and reevaluate my opinions based on new facts and new ideas. So to be honest, I think for the viewers of BookLab, this book might be too basic and even a bit of a waste of time, actually. If you really want to understand why we should doubt ourselves and why the human reasoning is flawed and why we have all these cognitive biases, then maybe you should check out some other books, and I have a few recommendations here. For instance, Nassim Taleb is a great guide to study Black Swan, Anti-Fragile, Skin in the Game. He's talking a lot about why we suck at predicting stuff. As well as Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman's landmark book, Thinking Fast and Slow, which goes into a lot of our cognitive biases that leads to human misjudgment. And why not study Cialdini's book? This is an accessible book, but it's also great. The Psychology of Persuasion, Influence, how you're being manipulated, and also how you can influence people. Both sides of the manipulation and influence dichotomy. This is a great book to read. So in the end, this is a passable book. We read it for the BookLab. The other people in that group really enjoyed this book, but I couldn't get into it. 2 out of 5 book for me. But if you find the idea of rethinking revolutionary, exciting, then you should definitely pick this one up. I can actually add a bonus recommendation here, or not a recommendation because I haven't read it, I just received it, but Mind Stuck, Mastering the Art of Changing Minds. One of the most interesting parts of Think Again was how you can change stubborn people's minds, at least to me, and this book is focused on only that, or at least that's what it's promising. I'm back next week with more book reviews, or actually I'm going to put out a BookLab report where I share some of my favorite lessons from the last 10 years of reading. The second part in that series, you can watch the first one right after this. After that, it will be the February releases. I also have a review coming up very soon on The Dream of Enlightenment, a philosophy book. I'm also reading the Everything Token about NFTs, cryptocurrency, and there's just a bunch of books that will come out on this channel. So until next time, happy reading. Björn out.